draft is probably going to be for the offense, because the offense, you can get guys that can have immediate impact in the draft this season, and the defense needs to be done in the free agency, because that's going to give you the immediate impact, because you're going to get veterans who are NFL
No
ready
doubt.
dudes. So
Yeah.
All right.
You know.
I hate to be negative here, but I got it.
okay,
All right.
okay, here we go, here we go, here we go,
Here
here
we
we go.
go.
Spicy John.
You say this, it does bring back some memories of 2020 with that new coaching staff when Mike McCarthy's took over. And remember all those Gerald McCoys and Don Terry Poes and Maurice Kennedys and Blake Bells and Daryl Worley.
All the worlds.
There were a lot of swings and misses. So, hey, maybe that was your bad offseason, but I just think people forget about that. That was.
Do we think Mike McCarthy was getting guys with a purpose though? Like we talked about with the coaching staff and it having a more clear direction. I think the way that they were acquiring players was kind of sporadic as well. It was like,
Clinton Dix was awful. I remember.
Come on, man. I think the way that Mike McCarthy and his staff scouted guys they needed was sporadic. I don't think that he did homework on those guys either. Just like he didn't do homework on his coaches he hired.
Clinton. I remember that. You know, John, is crazy. You got a good memory. I remember when he brought in Clinton Dix, and my memory serves me right, he actually wasn't coming from the Packers. He was coming from the Bears.
Yeah.
But he had him. Mike had him at the Packers, and so that was a complete waffle, because anybody who had watched him, he was a sideline safety, and by the time he was done with the Bears, he was awful. He couldn't come off the hash, so he couldn't play. And then Gerald McCoy got hurt, but I do get the premise as far as
he just came in because he wanted to get bigger in the middle. That's why they went and got Don Terry Poe, because they looked at the defense Rob Marinelli had and was like, man, these guys are too small. You know, like the Antoine Woods and some of those guys, and you know, Nick Hayden and stuff like that. That he was like, well, we got to get bigger in the middle. So I remember they went after Poe and somebody else, and it just obviously that 2020 season was a disaster. But obviously 2020 they also didn't have Micah Parsons on defense, so that changed things. But that is the only part of, if you are going one whole side of the ball in free agency, that just you got to make sure that at least hit on some of the guys.
Well,
they had Jim Tom Sula. I'm looking at the coaching staff now. Tom Sula.
You know what's crazy about
this, though, man. Hey, for all the hate that Mike Nolan got, deservedly so. I mean, it was awful. Man, in the offseason, like leading up to it, man, when he would talk about what the defense needs to look like, man, he was spot on, man. Because you got to remember where it was coming from at that time, and then where it was going to and what it needed to
Marinelli's team.
Oh yeah, it had to be updated big time. And again, he didn't have Micah Parsons, and that was a big change in it. But it was interesting because they became a defense, the Cowboys under McCarthy, where they would take the ball away, and they had some really good years with Dan Quinn, but they had no success at stopping the run. Whereas like Marinelli's defenses, they were great at stopping the run. I think one year they led the league, but they couldn't take the ball away. You know,
they couldn't turn around, take
play
the ball
so
away.
soft. So this is what I would say to that, John. I think there's so much information now about these guys, and we'll get to the super chats at the end. We see every super chat, guys. Thank you so much. I think there's so much information about these guys. Your pro personnel would have to be awful, and I think that Will and them needs to have a good offseason. Will McClay.
Yeah.
He needs to have an A+ offseason. As far as AOC just laid it out, the defensive side of the ball is where all your free agents are. So I would be like, if you're not bringing Osa back, which I've been doing a lot of research on, like how Eberflus wants to play defense, he still wants a bigger guy in the middle of that defense.
Right.
It's not. I remember Dan Quinn's everything just get upfield. No, he wants one guy getting upfield, and then he does want a nice solid one tech who has pass rush ability, but he doesn't just want those guys getting upfield. So where does that leave Osa, Mozzie, and the rest of the D tackles on this team? I don't think that you're gonna, if you can't get Mason Graham, right? If he doesn't magically fall, and you don't like Milton Williams or whoever, you're not taking him at 12. It doesn't. That's not going to happen. How are you going to fix that? Because Osa may not even be the answer for Matt Eberflus may say, "Nah, go give me Milton Williams, or go give me this person, or go give me, And I would say, give him what he needs. Another thing is this: I don't think that you're going to find a corner anywhere in this class that can come in day one and help you get over. But I'm looking at a DJ Reed who played with the Jets, who our D-line coach had him, may stand on the table and say, listen, if Bland is going to be our one, because I don't think that is like can we all just be honest? Diggs isn't playing next year. I don't think.
Right.
Diggs
No, he's not. He's not
no.
playing. I mean,
No, he's not.
yeah, no.
So if Diggs isn't playing next year, John, there's no way Dallas can say, "Hey, let's just run out Deron Blaine and Kalen Carson."
Yeah. Troy Pride.
Barbecue chicken alert! Barbecue chicken alert!
I mean, like what Kalen Carson showed me outside of Cleveland game, he ain't ready, dog.
Yeah.
He got, and I talked to him.
Jair Alexander.
Yeah, so one of these names. So I think that Dallas is they can't sit on their toes. We have to move the money around. So but you're right. 2020 was unchy. Law, you got anything on that?
Well, there was some bright spots in 2020. I mean, Dak Prescott, before the injury, he was going to break every damn record out there as far as offensively speaking. So
track
the
for like
defense,
6,500.
yeah, he was on track with doing some crazy stuff, man. So I would
watermelon kicks to beat the Falcons and
to beat Dan Quinn, by the way. Did we get him? You know,
funny.
But out of that coaching staff, who stayed? Like Fossil stayed, and he was pretty good for us, and that's about it, right? You know, of course.
Oh, there's been no holdover from this staff.
No holdover.
I think
Lunda.
Lundewell.
Lunda, and
I think
who else?
it's just Lunda.
Lunda.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Brian Schottenheimer, if you count
Schottenheimer.
him. Yeah, I mean, if you count Schotty.